Hey everybody, welcome back. Something I was thinking this week, Chris. Couldn't wait to get into the chair because I was like wondering what you thought about this, or if it had occurred to you. I'm sure you on some level you may agree, or at least know why I'm saying this. Are conferences bullshit?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's been rolling around in my head since I got assigned to do one in 2 weeks because it's right next to me. So I know don't get out to them too often because I'm on the technical side. And there's different elements that I like. Some of it's bullshit. Some of it's really refreshing, especially for me being behind the chair a lot. It's good to get out and talk to people and meet them in person. I think that's the element for me that defines bullshit or not. If you're sitting there in sessions or in kind of, my wife Devin likes to call it forced fun environments, you're not really getting a lot. It's everywhere else than the kind of conference track where you are getting a lot of information there.
Yeah. Well, so let me just back up to explain to everybody why I'm saying conferences are bullshit. So we got into conferences kind of because we were coerced into it, or I guess we were converted to it. Not coerced necessarily. No one was holding a gun to our head. But if you go back to the years of Chris and Paul, no employees, skulking about, building things wildly in every direction possible, and unsure, what part of the market we would fit in and rise out of, and then started to gain traction as a kind of a loyal group of followers and a small community. That Chris and Paul, this is circa 2018, probably 2017, maybe even before. We did actually go to conferences, but no one knew we were there because we were just going as attendees. I'm not even sure we had like an OwnerRez shirt on. We would go to some conferences and we would be there and run into people, go, oh yeah, no, we're just here hanging out and getting the vibe and meeting PMs and seeing how everybody else does it. And we started noticing people would say, well, why aren't you here? Where's your banner? Like, I've heard of you. You're a name in the industry. And so at first we explained, no, we just want to meet our customers. We don't really want to pay anything because we don't think the leads from this or the what we're going to get out of it's really going to make a difference. So, I mean, in those days, 15 grand's a lot of money. It's like, is that where we want
Yeah,
our marketing spend to go, or we want to put
still a
this
lot of money.
still a lot of money? We'll get to that. Yes, it's all still a lot of money. I cut right to the end for you. Every bit of money is a lot of money. Uh, but it's like we could put this in Google Ads or something else and like know what we're getting or be able to quantify where that is paying off funnel wise. And the conferences never seemed to do that early on. So it was like, we just don't want to do this. But then we did recognize, well, we do want to meet our users, our customers. And so that led to showing up to more of them, which led to, again, the question, bro, why are you not here, to us going, okay, we'll start to sponsor. And then year after year, we keep evaluating about this time of the year, which is the reason I was thinking about it. What events and conferences do we want to sponsor this year? Which leads me to think, well, which ones were good last year? And so us and Paul Hall, the guys here who are in marketing and sales, we get together, we think about it, look at our budgeting, which leads me back every year to the conclusion that conferences are bullshit. Like we're sponsoring and we're doing them year after year. We're evaluating our costs, but we don't do them because we go, well, this conference led to this many leads or to this action. So that's a little bit of the background of it. I don't know. Did I get all the details out there? Have you seen it as well?
Yeah, you got a lot of the details. I think there's some local color, like our journey from between nothing to showing up to having our first happy hour to actually then starting to officially have booths and stuff. Was a happy hour, that was something that we did, I forget, 2018, 2019, where we had an adjacent to a conference. Let's invite all our people over and talk and hang out and have a couple of beers. And that was really successful. And I think that highlights, well, a couple of different philosophies. First of all, in terms of marketing budget, our philosophy's always been, if we can spend marketing dollars with our people instead of with the big faceless corporations, let's do that. So this is, to the extent that it's possible to do that and go to conferences where you're getting a good relationship, a good connection with actual people that are users, not just people in the industry that are partners, friends, friendly competitors, et cetera, et cetera. When you're actually making those connections, that's what makes the difference. And so that's kind of brings us around full circle to dipping our toe in more and more, and then coming back to, I think this year we're evaluating to see, okay, where can we have the most impact? What sorts of things can we do to get to those places where our people are? But I know you have some thoughts on that too. How
Yeah,
to
I
how to make
mean,
that
so
disorientation.
I'm being a little tongue in cheek when I say they're bullshit. I think that it also depends on why you're going to them and what you're getting out of it. As you just thank you for filling in that color. And I mean, so from the PM standpoint, do they have any value at all? I know somewhat rhetorical, but from the supplier standpoint, which is us and everybody else on the show floor. So you've talked about the halo effect there of, meeting friendly competitors or partners. We have tons of partners, tons of friendly faces. The user hangouts have been awesome. We know why we want to do that every year. I would love to do like one a month if we could somehow swing that. Um, and in fact, we actually are looking into doing roadshow stuff this year, like our own conference stuff. I don't want to talk too much about that too early,
Yeah.
but
I
that
wondered if you'd
stuff,
let that out of the bag. It's super
yeah,
exciting.
I just let that off the back. So that stuff we know very well why we're doing it, and it's not bullshit at all. Um, from the PM standpoint, let's just stick there for a second. I've got a lot of friends in the conference world, in the vacation rental STR conference world, and so I don't want to offend any of them, but I think that where the rubber meets the road, if you are a PM or anyone, a host, co-host of any size, any kind of STR operator, I do think that they're bullshit. And I mean, full stop. I don't think you get anything out of them. I don't think that you can compare software or um, supply in any given way realistically. I mean, you might, you'll be sold something and showed something and you'll have demos on screens, but to a certain extent, that's actually worse. Being sold something because of a friendly face at a conference, not because of the features you've tested or the reputation or the fact that you got a face that was friendlier one day, but you didn't realize that everybody else at the company is not that great. You got the one friendly face. So it's like, I really, and correct me if I'm wrong here. We may not align on this. I don't see in this day and age with the internet and everything, all the exposure that's out there and all the objective ways of looking for and measuring software. I have to scratch my head and go, why the hell would any PM or SDR operator go to them outside of just the halo effect of wanting to hang out?
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I don't think it's a way to make your decision. That shouldn't be your first step. If you're thinking, hey, I want to get some new software, let me go to a conference and find out all about it. I do think that in-person conversations, you can get, again, some of the local color that you don't get. So there is some of those elements where you could go up and talk to somebody or come to our booth and have a really frank conversation. And that's a little different than just going around to try and make your software selection. But yeah, I don't think that you go there for the software. It's more for the relationship, for the other PMs talking to you that you may not see. And that's actually one of my favorite things about going to conferences is seeing people grow over time. Seeing somebody I saw 2, 3 years ago with a couple of properties grow to 5, grow to 20, still be an OwnerRez user and see how the juncture of that has helped them grow and help us grow together.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't think that the presenters and the suppliers and the people that are there selling things or the presenters who are doing sessions, keynote addresses and stuff, I don't think what they're saying is bullshit. So it just came out of me. We're talking about some of our partners and some of this like future stuff we're looking at doing this year, who would be a good fit and why, and some of the seminars that might be good to include. And there's a lot of really good presentations by people. Some people in the industry talk about safety, advocacy, taxes, things you need to know or things that you should be a part of. Maybe just again, kind of having the halo effect of being around others in your community. So there are good sessions and good information, but I've always scratched my head at why you're getting it by flying to Vegas or flying to San Diego or flying to wherever this conference is. Like, well, you could just
Sometimes you
buy
just
this
need the
online. I mean,
excuse. Sometimes you
the-
just need the excuse
sometimes
to
you
get
think
out to Vegas. I mean,
maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. But it's the key that I'm missing is that sometimes it's like me with working out. I have dumbbells and a treadmill and stuff in my house. Why is it that I didn't get serious until recently? Because I'm paying a trainer who I have to go see a couple of times a week. I cannot let this person down. The accountability of it, perhaps.
well, those are some of the most popular sessions I've seen, the workshops where you bring your laptop and you work on something with a bunch of other people and kind of do it together and swap stories and learnings.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe they're not bullshit. Maybe just maybe there's a side to it that's the accountability side to it and the work in person, side of it that's in this day and age when everything's accessible online, that's the part you need. You need the person who's kicking you in the ass to actually go and be a part of it.
Yeah, that's something you don't get more and more, and that's becoming more important in the age of online and now AI, having that face to face, in person. We're doing this online, and we got good equipment, but it's still not the same at all as being right next to you and the kinds of conversations and the vibe you can just pick up off of a person next to them.
So this is the other thing that I'm wondering every year when we get to this point and we're evaluating conferences is, do other companies that we compete with or other vendors in the space, other people in the ecosystem, are they also concerned about the ones that work and don't work? You and I are like, we all the time, like I said at the beginning, every dollar counts. Every amount's a big amount. And, we're being a little bit tongue in cheek, not so much as in years past. But we still do things like hire for pain. We still evaluate what's the value prop of whatever we're buying, or is the software actually going to work that we're looking into? Should we just build or, add something on to what we already have? So we're kind of ruthlessly always looking at these things. Part of our people first ethos and financial responsibility is a big part of being people first because you have to take care of people. And so that means being profitable in a healthy way and so on. I always wonder, I don't think a lot of others in the space look at the financial return, the value prop of these things nearly as much as they should, because you see the same cyclical effects, the same people hosting the same thing year after year, doing the same things. You see at conferences people who are manning the tables, doing demos, who in some ways don't seem even connected to the product at times. Like they were almost hired in for that, or they're from some other part of the company. The not interested. Someone walks up to the table and it's like, here's our tchotchkes and here's the demo. And yeah, sign up on the sheet and let us know if you need anything. And then I turn around and keep looking at my phone, kind of like not really interested in being here. Is it just me or, I really don't know, but I'd be very curious to know inside some of the other companies in the space and generally beyond hospitality, you know, is there just like, we have to do this when it comes to the conference and event sponsorship world? Maybe some we really like, some, we really look forward to doing, but then a bunch we're like, we're not sure why we're here, but we're going to be here every year because everybody else is.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I think a good chunk of why we in particular think about things differently is just our structure and culture. If you have a different organization where you're disjointed and the decision making for that goes across 5 different people, well, the CEO is probably going to care about the money, sort of, but marketing gets a budget and then it rolls downhill and somebody else decides which conferences to go to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas we keep stuff a little flat, maybe too flat. We have arguments over that from time to time, but we have transferred our thinking and our culture to our people so they think and value similar things. And we've developed that together with them. So we can look at that and make that decision of, does this benefit us and our users at the same time? Or is it just ticking another box because everybody else is there, because this is what we did last year, et cetera, et cetera? Or we have a marketing budget to spend, and if we don't spend it all, then we're going to get less next year. I think those things really do matter when it comes down to the decisions that you make.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it comes down to whether the leadership is investor sales led primarily or whether it's product led and customer led. terms of support and user experience and all those sorts of things. It can somewhat be both. I think tends to lean toward one side or the other, as you and I have talked about for many, many hours. Um, and I think, yeah, at some point it's the cost and the expense of it and the result of it. And then that's not even, like we said, a sales or leads thing necessarily. It's, I mean, you and I, we value that halo effect, and we value those partnership interactions and the user hangouts and the, like, the other reasons we're going that are even about the sessions or selling the product necessarily, directly selling. Um, we value all that, so we know what we're getting out of it. And I think that, you know, when those that are providing the money are not the ones on the floor thinking about the results of it, I think, yeah, you're definitely going to get a disconnect. So I'm sure that's no different in any other industry or any other type of platform.
So, Paul, you let the word roadshow drop a little bit ago. Do you want to go into that a little bit more?
Okay, yeah, we'll just go ahead and say it. So we are going to have some roadshow events this year. You might call it the OwnerRez conference. Everybody else has been asking for a long time, when is OwnerRez going to do their conference? And we're going to do something similar to that, but it's going to be more on the road in certain areas. I think from what I've seen, the plan right now is it's going to hug the East Coast a little bit, but it's going to be location by location. So we're looking at, like, Myrtle in Georgia and Orlando. So if you're in those areas, or even if you're not, check us out. And beyond our own roadshow stuff, Chris, what do we have coming up conference wise? Even though I just said, started off this with our conferences bullshit. We are going to be at conferences this year. There's some ones we are actually very excited about. So let's end on a happy note.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't have the conference schedule. I know, like I mentioned at the beginning, I'll be in VR Nation in Phoenix in a couple of weeks, end of February, depending on when this episode comes out. What else we got?
Verm International, of course. We do enjoy that one. We will be, for our friends in LatAm, San we will be back in Expo RV again this year. And you'll have to keep up with our events page. So go to ownerres.com/events, or look under the Connect menu, and throughout the year you'll be able to see where else we are and what else we're doing.